everybody. We haven't had a podcast in a while, and I'm sitting here in the office with Melissa and Scott. We're talking about why that is and what we should call it moving forward, because we kind of want to kick it off. And so maybe we should, as a warm-up, just share some of the ideas that we just heard about really bad podcast names and let our listeners pitch in, vote. We may or may not consider those votes. No, but it might be worth it. So Scott just came up with a really bad idea. Scott, why don't you say it in your own words?
Since we are I think resolutions.
And you have to say it like that with the pause?
Because resolutions is something else, but resolution.
With a Z.
So we've called, that's an idea, We've also had in the past the follow-up podcast, because we talk about things as a follow-up. But we want to take the conversation in different directions, and not always in a follow-up, and more discussing what it means to be involved as a Christian disciple at Resurrection in particular, but really more broadly for even those who may not be at Resurrection, a resource podcast to journey with people in their life of faith and to share, reflect, maybe even learn things with us and from us that would assist people in their walk in faith in this world, which is no small thing, actually, in a world that we have like today. We have the benefit of working with each other and coming into the office and discussing current events or things that are going on in our lives and being able to give ideas and reflections and learn from each other. So part of the podcast dream for us is to take some of that conversation and share it with the rest of our community and whoever else would like to participate out there in podcast world or the YouTubes or wherever this goes. So in light of that, I feel like I just made this really serious. It's not that serious. There's an element of we don't take ourselves that seriously.
It's very serious.
And it can be, but it doesn't always have to be. The other idea that I thought was pretty good was, and I think, did you come up with this?
No, I think it was Ryan Betcher.
Okay, we'll
or
give him
Courtney.
credit. It's probably Courtney. Actually, I think it will. I don't know anymore.
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But we were in a meeting, and it was one of the two of them that came up with
You say it.
This res life.
This res life. I think that sounds great.
I can talk myself into it being either one of them. So
It sounds
Courtney or Betcher, I don't know who it was, but
Thank you. But it also sounds like Courtney and Betcher, very gentle and spacious and nice. I don't know. We'll come up with it. Anyways, welcome back to the podcast. We're going to kick it off again, and I'm really excited to kick it off with Deacon Scott Madison, who many of you have seen either in the newsletter or in person. If I don't think this is going to come out in time, actually, I think it's going to come out the week after you preach. But this Sunday, my man, you're going to be preaching at Resurrection for the first time. So I wanted to dig in with you and ask some questions about who you are, give folks a chance to hear your story and where you're coming from. We've had the opportunity. You have some really cool background and story, and just who you are is like a really complex, beautiful person. And I'm excited for our folks to get to know you. And your husband, Chris, who's an amazing man, too. So, and he's got legendary stories, too, that I want to get to as well. So,
a couple of parishioners have already been to his restaurant to see him. So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, he's a legend.
he's very popular.
He's a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
Even people who met Chris and then came to me and said, do you know who that is? Do you know which Chili's he manages? So I got the whole lowdown.
Don't tell him.
Oh, sorry.
Make him figure it out.
Oh, right. So, Scott,
Yes.
Just start from the top. If someone was coming to visit Austin for the first time, where should they go to eat?
There is a really great Tex-Mex restaurant at 45th and Lamar.
45th and Lamar.
Yeah.
It's
It's up north. No, I know it's up north.
It's a bit of a drive.
I know you Southeast don't like to cross the river. But,
Right. Well,
but-
but we all, if anyone in South Austin is really like properly South Austin, they know where Q2 is, and for good reason. Where in relation to Q2 is this wonderful Tex-Mex 45th and Lamar?
It's probably 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
not bad.
Q2.
We can do that. All right, we'll check it out.
They have really good margaritas.
Yes.
Frozen margs.
Frozen Margs.
And the El Presidente is the one I'm most fond of.
What is that?
Oh.
It's just a regular margarita.
Oh, really? Okay, fine.
Just a plain, basic margarita, but it comes in a cool little shaker and everything. It's cool.
All right,
Hey,
okay.
you
We're gonna have
know.
to do a whole field trip. We'll do a whole
We should do a
Yes.
staff field
staff
trip.
field trip.
Yeah.
So, Scott, take us from the top. Where are you born? Where are you from? Like, Where did you come from?
So I was born in Washington, D.C., raised in the D.C. suburbs in Maryland. Um, Both my parents worked in government. So things that happened to the federal government are still very personal because I still have a lot of family and friends who work in government. Yeah, so I was raised in Fort Washington, Maryland, public school kid. Um, I played soccer and tennis growing up. Was in the band. Um, I had the bright idea in fourth grade to start learning French, which comes in handy here in Austin, Texas.
Do you still have some French in you? You can speak?
Un peu de.
Oh, does that mean
Mm.
un
A little bit.
poquito? Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. So in seminary, I because I was in the Latinx concentration, I had to take Spanish.
Ándale, pues.
And so the Spanish teacher would start the class and be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And ask me that in Spanish, and I would always answer him in French.
Well,
And like it would feel good about myself, like, yeah, yeah. And he looked at me, as like, dude, that was French. And I'm like, oh,
it's Latin based. It should count for something.
Right.
So
But
you're,
yeah.
you're in Washington. It sounds like a pretty typical upbringing, but your parents are maybe involved in government in some ways. Were you a part of what was your faith tradition at the time? Or
Oh, yeah. So I was born, baptized, and confirmed into the Episcopal Church.
wow.
I've been an Episcopalian my entire life. I was baptized at 5 weeks old.
Whoa.
That's when you do it.
My parents wasted no time.
Zero
Zero time.
Zero time. That's respect.
I thought maybe 6 months. I knew
Nah.
before I was a year, but no. My parents were like, no. So I was baptized at St. Timothy's Episcopal Church in Southeast Washington, D.C. My family was there until the early mid 80s. St. Timothy's, at the time I was born, was in a bit of a transition. They were about 60% white, 40% black. After the white rector retired, they hired a young, dynamic black rector, and that made St. Timothy's become probably 80-20 black.
Interesting.
And to this day, it is still a black Episcopal church.
That's
And
incredible.
So,
I mean, that goes to show you, just reflecting on that, the importance of seeing diversity in leadership and what that does.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What that signals to people who are welcome,
hmm
you know?
And I have seen anecdotally, and I have no data on this, but I have seen more than once when a black rector follows a white rector, that white congregants, not all, but a significant portion of white congregants leave.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's some obvious reasons for that. But why would you say that is? Is there a discomfort for white folks, you think?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just something I've seen happen more than 3 or 4 times.
And I hope we can get to more of this, but I bet there's a dynamic similar to that with women rectors, or really any person of color or minority
And so what I've seen with
stepping
women,
into majority spaces.
what I've seen with women is that churches tend to call female rectors after a period of chaos or scandal.
I'm
If
just going to be
there's
asking
been
why. I want to know
Chaos
what
and
you think.
these are things that
Interesting, huh?
little things that I've noticed.
Right.
After chaos and scandal, a church will call a female rector.
Okay, we're getting ahead of
Yeah.
ourselves here because I mean,
sorry.
part of the reason you have some of these insights is because not only have you been a lifelong Episcopalian, but you've also served in a variety of capacities in parishes.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
And so in 2004, Chris and I moved here to Austin, and I almost immediately joined St. James. While I was there, I was in youth ministry. I did liturgical ministries like Chalice and Reader, and I served on the vestry for 5 years, including a year as junior warden, a year as senior warden, and a year as clerk of the vestry. I have at St. James represented St. James at diocesan council for I think it was 11 or 12 consecutive years. Um, and also got involved in the diocese and served the diocese in different ways, including being part of the leadership team that put on General Convention, the
Mm.
Episcopal Church's General Convention
When it was
that
in
was
Austin?
here in
Oh, yeah.
2018.
I remember that.
And so, and I have served as a deputy to General Convention representing the diocese for the past two General Conventions in Baltimore and Louisville,
So you've
Kentucky.
seen it all.
So I've seen it all. I've been around. I have not seen it all. I've seen a lot. There's still stuff about the church that I'm still learning. Right now, currently, I serve on a general convention task force that is looking at ways of possibly modifying or redoing the Book of Common Prayer, the 1979 Book of Common Prayer. So it's very controversial.
Yeah. Why do you think that's so controversial?
I think, like when the 1979 Book of Common Prayer came out, the people who had grown up with and only knew the 1928 prayer book were livid.
Hmm.
You're changing something, and especially the shift of theology that happened with the 79 prayer book, where it put a larger emphasis onto the Eucharist. And whereas before, you would have Eucharist once a month, maybe,
Oh, interesting.
maybe every other week for those radical Episcopal churches. Now, the only reason you don't have a Eucharist is if you cannot find a priest to come and do it for you on Sundays.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason you can't get a priest to come there on Sunday to give you Eucharist, that would be the only reason you would do a morning prayer service on a Sunday.
So for anyone who's not familiar with like the prayer book or a liturgical tradition like ours, this is a really interesting example of the power of common prayer.
Yes.
Not only so, and touching the common prayer that's been published and held in reverence, honestly, since 1979, and then the ways that not only is that prayer it's not just like a textbook of theology or just a collection of prayers that are optional for you. These are deeply woven into the imagination of a community of people. It expresses belief, their theology, but it's also the way that they worship and relate to one another. So it's like really significant to touch. It's not just a resource for prayer. This is something central to an Episcopal, like an Episcopalian's spirituality
and identity.
Yeah.
And I love the 79 prayer book, and I believe it needs to be updated. It just does. I mean, we're coming up. It was 50 years between 28 and 79. We're coming up on that 50-year mark here in a few years.
That's crazy.
And so
that is a lot.
It's time to be updated. I was part of a group that was able to, in the back of the prayer book is the Catechism of the Church. And I was part of the group that was able to change part of the catechism.
Oh, wow.
To especially around marriage, because the Catechism of the Church at the time said that marriage is between a man and a woman, and we updated it to say a marriage is the union of two people.
Yeah, right. That's an interesting, a little like a group to be part of and a change to implement. Actually, that's a pretty big deal.
Right. Well, it changed for a first reading, and it has to go through again. It has to, because of the status that we give the prayer book. It has to pass 2 consecutive general conventions, and so it passed in Louisville. So it'll have to pass again in 2027 in Phoenix.
So before you were a prayer book nerd and general convention, like, and diocesan representative, and served as warden and, part of the vestry and in every capacity in the church. What did you do before you got into church stuff? Did you have other jobs? What were you doing?
Oh, like employment.
Yeah.
Oh,
like for instance, why do you sound like so comfortable around a microphone?
So when I was in college, I started interning at a radio station. I was a news intern back when radio stations had news departments.
Wow.
And so
Not anymore.
my major in college was telecommunications with a concentration in broadcast journalism, and I have a minor in pure mathematics. And so
Pure?
pure
As opposed to like
Unpure?
applied.
impure?
No, applied.
Applied.
Oh, gotcha.
Look at these, like, math people.
No, wait,
Right.
hey, hold on, dude.
Like
I took a lot of math.
Right,
I don't know what
that
that
would be
is.
applied. That would like how you apply mathematics to whatever.
Huh,
I just like
pure,
solving.
huh?
I just like solving equations.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just,
interesting. Okay.
You know, like just let me solve an equation. I don't want to apply it to anything.
Right.
So
Doesn't need to matter. It just needs to work.
right,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
And so while I was in college, I was interned as a news intern at a radio station, which led to me getting an overnight position my senior year in college, doing kind of what they call board hopping, basically just pressing buttons and playing music. And that was for a gospel station.
Oh,
Mm.
cool.
So that was pretty cool, which led to me becoming a producer on the R&B station that was the sister station, which led to me doing on-air part-time, then producing a morning show, and then our morning show got canceled. But I am fortunate I did not get fired. They moved me into marketing and promotions, and I stayed there for 5 years.
So
Yeah.
how do you think we're producing this show so far? Like, what, you need notes? It's great,
I
right?
told you, what was the first thing I said when I came in here? I was like, color me impressed.
Color me impressed.
Man.
Look at us in our little makeshift office studio.
It's these guys. It's
It is.
our mics.
But it's also the talent. I mean, we've held this podcast down for years, right?
Yes. He did say that he listened to some of our podcasts before
Yeah.
he came on board.
Tens of listeners, my man.
Tens.
No, and we're bringing it back. This is going to be a lot of fun. And actually, this medium and radio in general, but just it is on video as well. But even being able to listen to stuff like this, I think is actually a really, I think needed, even now, a needed medium, specifically because it's conversation, and I think our society like needs to hear conversation. Like, how do
Yeah.
you talk to one another?
Yeah.
Something we've sort of, I think, lost. We're forgetting how to do.
And I think
There's a lot of yelling, right?
And that was what I was going to get to is that what I love about one of the things I listen to a lot of podcasts, and what I love about the best ones is that people are having a conversation and they don't always agree,
Mm.
and sometimes they don't agree vehemently, but they walk out of there together and they come back the next week or they come back the next day and they're like, yeah, you're my boy, you're my girl, I
Right,
love
right,
you, and everything like that, which is wonderful and beautiful. I don't think there's enough of examples of that. Like, if we don't see eye to eye on 100% everything, then clearly we cannot be together, and that is insane.
Right.
That's ludicrous.
It's not possible.
Right.
And you end up in a room by yourself.
Right. Or eventually, like, you think everyone thinks the same like you,
Yeah.
and then you find out that they don't, and then it's like, what do you do? Like, now all of a sudden you've lost all your people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And yeah.
So I know we're jumping around a little bit, but I'm just kind of curious. Don't let me dominate, Melissa.
No,
but
no.
I'm kind of curious. I want to hear how did you, so you're a deacon. You went to seminary. Where'd you go to seminary?
Seminary of the Southwest.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. How did you go from a pretty content, mildly successful, DJ and other things I'm sure you did,
Yeah.
to wrestling with a call to holy orders?
Yeah. So
Those are always interesting stories, right?
yeah. So I moved to Austin in 2004. In 2006, I don't like to talk about this period of my life because it was horrible. But in 2006, I moved to New Orleans for work. I was there for about a year and a half. I moved there exactly 1 year after Katrina.
Oh man.
And it was tough. It was tough on our relationship. It was tough for me career-wise. Just a lot of tough things. Ironically, I lived and I'm not exaggerating. I lived a block and a half from an Episcopal church, and I did not go to church when I lived in New Orleans.
What was that about?
I think I just felt so horrible about myself
Hmm.
and horrible about my condition that I did not want to bring that into church.
Do you
I
think?
prayed every day.
Sure.
And always looked at the church, was like, yeah, I gotta go. But I never went. Which is weird.
Well, I don't know. Is it? I think it sounds common. And I guess I'm wondering, does that experience for you give you some compassion for people who think likewise?
Yeah.
Do you see that? Are you able to spot that a little bit?
I'm able to, I know people who have, for whatever reason, and this is not about, because it's not about church hurt. I am a gay man of a certain age who has no church hurt.
Somehow. You're a unicorn.
Somehow. I have no church hurt.
Praise,
so
first of all, praise the Lord. That should be the normal story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That should be the norm.
Yeah.
That's what we're working towards.
That's what we're working towards, Scott.
Right. And so this wasn't about that. This was about me and whether I felt worthy enough to enter a church. Because of the way my life was unfolding in New Orleans. I did not feel I was worthy enough to go into a church. Even though no one told me that I wasn't. This is all me. This is all internal, not even from God. This is all me telling myself I'm not worthy enough because of some of the choices and things that you've had to do while you're in New Orleans.
Right.
And so when we moved back to Austin, we left New Orleans, in the middle of it was like midnight Saturday morning, drove all night, got here to Austin, unloaded, set up the apartment, and Sunday morning, my butt was at church.
Wow.
Because I was like, I'm back.
How did you work through that? Was it just you just needed to get out of town?
I think it was New Orleans.
New Orleans.
I just think it was there, and it was that specific time and that specific place. I hold nothing against New Orleans. I would love to go. I love spending a weekend there.
Yeah.
The food. Oh my God, the food is so good. The music, fun, but I will never live there again. I could not live there.
Wasn't the right fit for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Austin,
I love. I ran back to Austin. And so when I got back to Austin, and like I said, I got back into the church, and I'm diving all in. And so I really got involved, and that's when I really got involved in everything. And I had heard God speak to me before. And so I thought I knew how God spoke to me. I thought I knew how God told me to do something. What I had never experienced was God speaking, or at least that I recognized, was God speaking through people to me. And so people started saying to me, around 2010, Scott, you should become a priest. Scott, you should think about being a priest. Scott, you should think about being a priest. And I'm like, what? What? You are crazy. You are insane. No. And then I looked into it, and turned out that the diocese at the time had a canon, a purity canon, which said that if you are unmarried, that you have to remain celibate, and marriage is only between a man and a woman.
Okay, wow.
And so this is pre-marriage equality. Chris and I had been together for a very long time, so we were living together, of course. He was my partner. We were financially intertwined and everything. I was on his insurance.
Right, all the other aspects.
All the other aspects.
Yeah.
And so it prevented people like me who were in long-term same-sex relationships from seeking ordination. And so this was the case. And so I became involved in the fight to repeal this. this canon. And there were many nasty debates at diocesan council. Some
Is this the time that you were part of the diocesan council, like as a
Yes.
delegate?
Yes.
Mm.
And while this is happening, people are still saying, Scott, you should be a priest. I'm like, can't, Canon 43.
Yeah. Out of my hands, you know,
Out
that
my
kind of
hands,
thing.
sorry. But also like thinking to myself, this is crazy. Y'all are crazy.
Right.
Well, it has not even been 10 years yet, but fast forward to 2016 and Canon 43 is finally repealed. And I give a lot of credit to Bishop Doyle for coming up with a way to do it that maintains a lot of unity in the diocese. Even those who agreed with the canon still maintains a lot of unity in the diocese. So I'll give him a lot of credit for that. And then I was like, and I remember posting on Facebook, like, Canon 43 is repealed. Yay! The excuses are getting thinner.
Wow.
And so people kept saying this. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not a priest. I believe, and I still do believe, in the power of the laity, that the laity is where all the power is. And any congregation is better than any priest or rector that it could have.
That's right.
And I still believe that to this day. So you hear that, Rez? Y'all are better than Shawn.
I promise you, and me included, we're all like, yeah, that's nothing new there.
Yeah.
So we've known
and
this.
like just because God is calling you to ministry doesn't mean God's calling you to be ordained.
Right.
There's
There's
point.
a good right.
Good point.
There's good things there. There's good lay leadership, and the church
what you did.
The church needs good lay leaders, strong lay leaders, who can sometimes do and say some of the things that a priest can't necessarily say.
For sure.
And so fast forward to I'll focus on 3 conversations. To 2018 at General Convention, during General Convention, I had a conversation with the canon to the ordinary at the time. And she asked me had I considered being a priest? And I said, I've thought about it. I've prayed about it. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
And she shared with me her call story. And she asked me to continue to pray about it. And I promised her I would. I said, I will. Then I had fast forward a few more months. I got a call from a priest friend of mine to have lunch. And over lunch, he said, quote, Scott, God told me to tell you about this discernment retreat that the diocese does and to sign you up for it.
Wow.
And then he pulls out and I'm going to pay for it. So then he's pulling out his hand. I'm like, no. I can't do it.
So there's a lot of energy behind you with these people who've known you.
This person I still respect so much. Yeah. And so I fully believe when he said, God told me to tell you, I fully believe God told him to tell me that. Yeah. The third conversation I had was with a woman. Fast forward a few more months. And this woman and I were catching up with each other over a glass of wine. And she grabs my hand. She said, honey, proper Southern lady,
yes.
Honey, why aren't you a priest? And I said, that's just not my call. Strong lay leadership, all my well-worn excuses.
All the flares.
And she's like, oh, Scott. And she took my hand back and she said,
totally see this.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. But here's why you're wrong. And she did what no one else had ever done. She said, not only do I think you should be a priest, this is why I think you should be a priest.
What'd she say?
This is how she...
If you don't mind, I mean, is this personal?
part of it.
Okay.
But she explained how she saw the Holy Spirit moving in and through me
Okay. Yeah.
and moving in and around me.
Mm.
And no one had ever explained the why. They always just said, you should be a priest.
Right.
So then it was a couple weeks later that I went to that discernment retreat. I ended up crying all through it. During a walk, it was out in Camp Allen. So during a walk, I come to like a meditation spot and they have the 3 crosses, and I sit down and I look up at the crosses and I'm looking at the sky and I'm looking at the crosses. And I said, you're going to make me do this, aren't you? You are going to make me do this.
And Jesus said, bless your heart.
Yeah.
And so, it started there, and I went in thinking that, okay, somewhere along the way, I'm going to get a no. Someone is going to stop this
Right.
process. Something or someone is going to say, Scott, oh, no, of course not. And so I thought the first person would be my husband. He's not a churchgoer. Church is not his thing. And we went out to dinner, and I said, "Hon, something I got to tell you." And I explained, I want to go to seminary. I think I'm being called to ministry, this, that, and the other. I'm not going to have a job for 3 years. I might have to move out of Austin. And he's just casually looking at the menu as I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Okay." And I'm like, No, hon. I don't think you understand. This means like we might have to leave Austin. I'm not going to work, like no money for 3 years, and I got to figure out a way to pay for seminary, and da 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 da. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. You might be a priest spouse. He's like, look, I've been waiting for you to say this for 5 years. I want to know what took you so
My
long.
man, Chris.
And I said, ow.
Okay.
So what are you having for dinner?
Yeah. Moving on.
You were supposed to stop me.
Right. That was supposed to be the first no. And then I thought a no would come from my rector. And of course, she was all in. I thought a no would come from the discernment committee. They were all in. The Diocese Commission on Ministry was all in. Like I just kept getting yeses.
Yeah, your whole community. Right?
Along the way, a way for me to a way for me to go to seminary and not incur any debt appeared
Wow.
before me. Like all these things just kept happening in great way. Like I thought my mom would would say no. Not that that would stop me, but I would want my mom's
Sure.
support.
Yeah.
My brothers were all in, surprisingly. And so like it just everything I've gone through has all been a yes.
Yeah.
And so I believe I'm on the right path. And there's still a few more hoops for me to jump through. There's still time for someone to say, that guy, no.
Yeah, you still got to make it through res. No, I'm playing. Well, you know what's really cool about your story that I hear is the involvement of community.
Yeah.
Yes.
That there was something you're wrestling with, but actually resisting, and your community had something to say about that.
Right. That we don't discern alone.
Yeah. That's what I was
I know
also
this
thinking.
this is airing after I preach, right?
We'll see. Who knows? It just depends.
It depends on how late
Wow.
Alex stays up tonight to edit the
Yeah.
podcast.
Oh, that's true. It'll probably be after, yeah, for sure. 'cause
But no, well, anyway,
it'll come out next week.
even if it is before, that's fine. But yeah, we don't discern alone. We are a community. We are your community, and we are here to help you discern what God is calling you to do.
Right.
And even if you have no idea what that is, that's okay. We are here to help you do that.
Let's say there's someone in the church, and I'm especially thinking about, like, we tend to think about adults wrestling with calling, and that's right, like most of us, right? But I also have, maybe because I have a son who just graduated high school, but I'm thinking of that age group too, teenagers, high schoolers, and young people. What would you say to young people in the stage of life they're in now wrestling with the question, a huge question that they all have to some extent, which is, what am I supposed to do with my life? And does God have an opinion about that? Um, what would you say to them? Like, what, from your experience, the story that you have walked away with some really good news about, like, what I'm hearing is your community has named something in you, and that God has been at work in that community and stirring things up and bringing clarity to you. Not only has that shown you something about your calling, but it's also, I wonder, showed you new things about God, or helped you to appreciate more deeply certain characteristics of God. What of those things would you want to reiterate to teens or young people who are curious about, does God care about this? Does God know me well enough to know plans for my life, or ideas, or things that inspire me? Like, how would you talk to young people about this?
Um, well, the first thing I would say is that, something that a phrase that I use a lot and when I preach, and that is, you are made by God, and God created you and called you good,
Mm,
and so you are good,
Mm.
inherently good, and because God created you, God is in you,
mm,
God is with you, and if it's okay if you don't know what you want to do, that is fine. But also, like, listen for God. And what I learned is that God speaks to you in different ways at different times.
Mm.
Whereas before I was sure that God would speak directly to me, um, I learned that God can speak to you through other people.
Mm.
And so if there's people in your life kind of telling you the same thing, I think that is something to pay attention to. Also, it's okay to pursue things that you like.
mm,
Like, if you like doing something, it's okay to pursue that. That's fine. Um, your career, job, whatever, and your vocation, what God is calling you to do, they don't necessarily have to be the same thing.
right.
Mm.
You know,
You don't have to make money doing the thing you love, for instance,
right? You
but
don't
you
have
also
to,
could.
or you don't have to, like, be a professional church person,
Mm.
Right.
so to speak. It's okay, to just show up every Sunday until you figure that out. And talking to people who have been there, and, like I said, just listening for how God is speaking to you, be it through prayer or through someone else or through a series of events that keep happening in patterns and stuff. But it's okay not to know.
Mm.
It's
You know,
okay to take time and
Yeah.
figure it out.
I'm also hearing in your story that, like, it's reminding me you're not going to choose the wrong path.
Right.
Like, to tell a teenager or someone, like, you're like, God is going to find you wherever you are and keep putting things in your path over and over again if there's a way to go. I feel like when I was at that time in my life, I was so scared I was going to choose the wrong road.
Mhm.
and that'd be it.
Yeah, and be like,
Forever.
oh no.
Yeah.
God's like, oh well, you should have
Whoopsie-daisy.
gone the other direction.
Should have
Why
done your
weren't you
quiet
getting
time.
it? But it's like God is continuing and always continues to pursue you and
Right.
find you
Right.
and help you along the path that is best for you.
Right. God continues to pursue you, and God desires to be with you through the way. If you do choose the quote unquote wrong path, God is still going to be there with you
Hmm.
Mm.
and help you see if you help or find you, and desires to be there with
Mm.
you. And so there is, like
It's
you
never
said,
lost, right? You're never
yeah,
Right.
too
you're
far
never
gone.
walking this path alone. Like,
Or like doing the wrong thing. Like, I'm thinking about all of the different pieces that led you to where you are now and how much that makes you the person, the deacon who you are and priest who you will be today. All of those moments of you being like, oh no, God doesn't want me to be a priest right now, but God is still using all of that to make you into who you are.
Yeah. And I believe everything happened at a if I had gone to seminary earlier than I did,
Mm.
I don't think I would, one, have enjoyed it, and two, I think I would have come out a lot more jaded.
Yeah.
It was the right time
Yeah.
for you.
It was the right time for me. It was, I was around the right people that I needed to be around. And I think now I am where God wanted me to be. Like if I had gone earlier, I would not be here.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And another big good storyline in this is the importance of. I've been thinking about the importance of community. Why
Yeah.
why do we exist as a church? It's something we've been talking about in our sermon series. Why are we here? What are we doing? And I think over the years, when people who go to church regularly, they will at some point begin to ask that question, especially when there's like more interesting things or lucrative things or new things to do on a Sunday morning rather than go to church. Like maybe I'll do that. But what I hear in your story is a really good example of why being known by a people over a long period of time, worshiping alongside them, being formed by the written word and the sacraments and the fellowship, being a Christian essentially, isn't always flashy and exciting and the new thing. But when it comes to some big picture things like what is God calling me to, you have all of these people who have history with you, who know you well enough because you've shown up, you're present, and they're able to, hold your hand and say, "Oh, bless your heart." Like I know you better than you know yourself. Those moments that you don't really get if you're not around. And so, we don't go to church so that we can get things out of it like that. But this is just an example of like, here's the fruit of being known by people and opening yourself to not only their fellowship, but fellowship with God, with people.
Yeah.
You end up with some real help about major things in your life. So I'm thinking of like all of our recent graduates or our young professionals who are, and honestly, people our age who are still asking the question, like, what's next for me? What is my life about? What am I to do? Those things, like you said, can't be figured out alone. They're not meant to be. But also the church is, I think, part of God's answer to that question.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be here, actually.
Yeah.
And while you're here, all kinds of clarity will come about some other things. But like, not to like, throw the book at you here, but seek first the kingdom, right? Right? Like seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Like everything else will fall into place, but get the first thing right.
Right.
And find yourself in those people, and you'd be surprised what happens.
Now that song is playing in my head.
Now sing it for me. Sing it for me. You know what it is?
I know what it is.
How does it go, Melissa? Wait, I'll try. Let me see. Seek first the kingdom.
Nope.
No, I'm not just baiting you guys. I am. Seek
ye first
See how I got you guys to
the
sing.
kingdom of God
And
his
his
righteousness.
Keep it going.
And all these things shall be added unto you. Alleluia. Alleluia.
That was great. This is the first time we've ever
Sung
on the podcast.
What?
Maybe that's the title.
Songs on the pod.
Okay, so oh my gosh, we're falling off the rails. So now you're with us. You're ordained a deacon. You're on your way to being, God willing, ordained to the priesthood.
Yes.
And you're serving as a curate at our church, which I think our church has had a history of walking with emerging leaders and senses of call among people. So the idea is old for us, but the way that the diocese structures and supports and directs curacies is new to us, and it's actually really a wonderful thing so far that we've experienced. And to have you as our first curate is probably the best and easiest way to like be introduced to the whole program. It's pretty awesome. So, but tell us, like, after you serve with Res for 2 years, or let me just ask it this way: what are you hoping? Why did you want to be here? What are you hoping that Res can be for you? And what are you hoping you can be for Res? And then where do things go after your 2-year curacy with us?
well, why I want to be here is one. The very first time I visited Res, one, I was so excited to come. Um, I've been involved, like I said, I've been involved in the diocese for a long time and in Austin. And so at every Episcopal church, I know somebody. And so I'm
Not
never,
this one.
but I'm never really a visitor. So I was never
Right.
really able to be a visitor because either knew a priest or worked with somebody on
Somebody,
something
yeah.
or got to know them at General Convention or something. Like I was never just a visitor in a church. And you all come into the diocese, I'm like, I know no one there. And they don't know me.
You think.
Yay. And so I walk in my very first Sunday and standing there in the narthex is Tashara, whom I had met through seminary. She would sometimes come over to Southwest to worship with us, and I would sometimes walk over there. She was sometimes on our campus, I was sometimes on their campus, and so we got to know each other.
Yeah,
And
to the
so-
non-res person, Tashara is a ministry. She's sort of the old curacy model that we've had, but she's been with us serving in ministry for a couple years now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like open the door and I see her and I'm like, I'm not supposed to know anybody.
What are you doing here?
I'm like, hey. And she's like, oh my God, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what are you doing? She said, this is my church. And I'm like, it is? Okay. And she's like, yeah, I want you to meet Shawn. And I'm like, this is why I didn't want to go somewhere. But no. In that first service, I left thinking something is happening here.
Hmm.
There's something here. That's the
It's the coffee, bro. We got good coffee.
Combining with all the things that we put into the liturgy here, and this it's there's just something moving. The Spirit moves during the service here, and it is you can feel it. I can feel it. And I visited 3 more times before I found out I was going to be interviewing here. And each time was just better than the last. And yeah. So I've had an eye on you guys for a while.
Now that you're on the inside of the operation, has that changed, or has that been colored, or how has that been from being a visitor to now being on staff? That's a big change.
Well, as far as worship goes, other than my role in worship, it has been that Spirit that has gotten me through what were like terrifying. The first 2 Sundays were terrifying.
Really? Come on, you did great.
And then reading the wrong gospel
bad.
on that first Sunday. I sent that video clip to
We
some
gotta
friends.
edit this out. I can't. The bishop can't hear this.
We should have just let you sit during your
Yeah.
first Sunday, but no.
No,
We threw you in.
No. I asked him like, look, I need to be thrown in because the way I learn is by doing
It's
it.
the only way to do it.
And but no, it's been great. Now that like the nerves have gone away, it's like this past Sunday, I was able to just sit and worship and be a part of worship, pray the prayers that while we are praying them, while I'm leading them. And so it's wonderful. It is so wonderful. I'm so lucky to be here.
Well, I hope you don't. I hope your jitters don't get in the way again. Like being your first time preaching with us. But I've told you this, and our folks will hear this, and I think agree with this, saying our preaching culture is very much. It feels like a conversation in the living room. It feels like that, and I hope that you feel the comfort of that. But also, these folks have put up with my preaching for a long time, so they're number one, they're excited about a different voice. But number two, I've made all the mistakes, so like you'll be fine. You will be just fine. And I've heard you preach. Part of on my end of the curacy interview is getting some sample sermons and videos for you preaching, and I'm having seen those things. I'm thinking our folks are going to love you, and it's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. I'm
No, I'm
excited for
sitting
them
here
to see
trying to
that.
remember which ones I sent you.
They were St. James. They're good. They're good.
Fit right in.
Oh wow, okay.
So what after the curacy ends for you?
After
Like,
the
where does
curacy-
that go for you?
That part I don't know. That is an unknown.
But typically,
Possible.
yeah. What happens usually?
Typically, I would then become an associate rector at a church, or maybe a rector of a church. There are possibly, if it could be supported, I could stay here
Mhm.
after my curacy.
So it's really
and
it's
so
just sort of open to
it's-
job opportunities,
Yeah, it's just
basically.
open
that
to
point.
what's available and where God is calling me to next.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not thinking about that right now.
Yeah.
Right now it's just, getting in and still getting to know Rez, and still trying to find ways to, in a non-obnoxious way, for Rez to get to know me.
Yeah. Well, that's what this podcast is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's not obnoxious, though.
Mhm.
No, it's good.
Tell us something about yourself that you geek out over.
Yeah.
It can be church related or unchurch related.
Women's basketball.
Hey.
I love women's basketball. I will geek out over that. I also love the canons and constitutions of the church. And I'll geek out over that too.
You gotta have one of those on your staff.
Yeah, you do.
Somebody, not everybody's got to be into it, but at least somebody's got to be into
Mhm.
it.
And also church finances. Oh, I love digging into church finances.
boy.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've
if
already
that's-
had conversations
I don't
Oh
know
about
if
my
that's
some of
going to
this
make
stuff.
you a wonderful rector or a terrible rector. I don't know. We'll see. Could be a little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
But
great.
no. I love women's basketball. Which has led to a love of women's sports in general.
Mm.
And so yeah.
You are a big sports fan, though,
I am.
just across the
Across the
board.
board.
Yeah, who are we talking about? Just so people know, like which
My favorite teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, your people.
I am a Cowboys fan. I grew up in the DC area, Dallas
Okay.
Cowboys fan, which has caused some consternation in my relationship, but it is all good.
Okay. Okay.
And for the NBA, because I am a DC native, I root for the Wizards? I do. But also in the WNBA, my Mystics, I love them.
Mm.
Baseball is the Orioles, sometimes the Nationals. Soccer, I am Verde.
I was just, honestly, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I'm just waiting for you to get to the real sport and the real team.
Right. As soon as the team came out, like the first day you could buy a jersey, I bought a jersey.
And I will say, I think you're the first person, I'm ashamed to say this, especially because for me personally, you're the first person to wear an Austin FC jersey to the office
Yeah.
on a game day.
Yeah.
And I saw you in the hallway and said, my man. We had a big hug. It was great. From here on out, that's office policy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
So also like college sports, and so
Wimbledon. I know you're into Wimbledon.
yeah,
and
I
it
watched
came
that's right. My first week here, I was watching Wimbledon.
through. Yeah.
Y'all are having conversations in the back. I'm like, shit, there's a tennis match on.
Watching
Do you
something
mind?
It's supposed to be
man.
quiet during these games.
Well, I'm really grateful that you're here, Scott, and I think the rest of the churches, I know that they are too. And we're excited to get to know you. So I hope this helps for everybody just to hear you talk, hear some of your story, and we're going to hear you preach. So maybe folks who hear this will have heard you preach, and this will be a helpful little follow-up just to give a little more depth to who you are, who Chris is, and your family, and the way that God's worked in community to bring you to the place you are. And now it get to be that community.
Yeah.
To carry you in this, not only this next season of transformation and growth, which keeps happening, but also in the season to come. Like, who knows what God is going to be doing in your life? And for a community to be a part of that, to have a share in that, is, I think, one of the most amazing privileges in the church.
Well, Rez will have more than an outside share in that. Like, part of the people who need to consent to me becoming a priest
Oh, yeah.
is Rez.
We got leverage, y'all.
Yeah.
We got leverage.
so yeah.
That's going to be
Y'all have a
amazing.
big say in that.
That's going to be amazing.
And I like I said, I'm so excited to be here. And can't wait for Father Ryan to come back into the office. And
Yeah.
That's
gonna be
That'll be
so-
fun.
It's going to be a blast. Well, thank you for taking time to do this. Thanks for
Thank
everybody
you.
else who's listening. Melissa, thanks for being here with us as well.
You're welcome.
We still need to figure out what to name this thing moving forward. So if you bump into us on Sundays, or you just want to shoot Scott an email, not me.
Oh my
Send it to the
gosh.
curate. Your opinions about the podcast title. We'll hear it. We'll pray about it, right?
Right.
Anyways, all right. Until next time, see you later, y'all.
See ya.